Welcome to another three count with Gino, guys. This week, or sorry, today is going to be retros. Remember, I told you I was going to be doing throwbacks every once in a while? Well, NXT 2015 Takeover Brooklyn, one of arguably the best WWE pay-per-views ever, probably one of the best NXT ones, and argue my one of my top three favorite matches of all time is on this card. So we'll be breaking that down today. Um, we started off with something this guy never thought he'd see in a WWE ring ever. In a very crazy spectacle, as we had the opening match, and I completely forgot this was on there. Justin Thunder Liger, sorry. Sorry, before I even get to that, Triple H opened the show and welcomed us to NXT Brooklyn and said, "We are NXT and we are here to take over." And there's about a 5 year span there where NXT couldn't be touched. And it was around this era, the gold and black era. Absolutely brilliant. Triple H cuts that promo, and then we get right into it with Justin Liger, Thunder Liger, versus Tyler Breeze. Unfortunately, this was Justin Liger's one and only match with WWE, and Tyler Breeze unfortunately was fired shortly after this, and then brought back with Fandango as the Fashion Police, and they did a nice little run on both NXT and SmackDown. But nonetheless, this was really cool entrance by Tyler Breeze because they were in New York and he was a fashion model at the time. He did a little fashion entrance. Very good match. A lot of cool things I never thought I'd see, like Justin Liger in the ring in general for WWE. Very crazy. The man is an absolute living legend. He is a legend to the lower weight wrestlers. If you don't know that, go look up his matches in Japan. The dude is the dude was crazy. He did this for almost 5 decades, and he was not never mimicked. He was mimicked a lot, sorry, never duplicated. The things that man could do were crazy. Very good match, very good back and forth. You could tell early on that Tyler Breeze was not going to win this match. At one point, he dominated a bigger portion of the match than Liger did. Um, but Liger was able to hit all his hits. Tyler Breeze got the supermodel kick. We had a couple nice little teases of Tyler Breeze looking at one of the few 1-2 oohs. Won a couple of really close ones. In the end, we all got treated to one of the coolest moves, the running Liger bomb. And Justin Thunder Liger, in his one and only appearance in WWE, beat Tyler Breeze. Um, Match went about 9 minutes. It did the job getting both guys the reactions they should have got from the crowd. Um, yeah, I think that was a decent match. I gave it 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. Sorry, I thought it did a perfect job of telling the story. Like just Tyler Breeze thought there was no competition from him. He wanted something a little bit out of this world that he could deal with and try and win. Liger's a legend. He got what he deserved, and they put on a good show to open the match. It was a good kickoff match for the pay per view. Very good. Very, very good, like I said. Told a great story. And it was very cool to see Jushin, sorry, I keep saying Jushin Thunder Liger in a WWE ring for a one off. Following that, we got a glimpse, and this one kind of made me sad because a few years later he'd be gone. But three of the five members of the clique were at ringside. We had X Pac, we had Kevin Nash, and we had probably criminally one of the most underrated people in wrestling who never become WWE champion or champion in general. Scott Hall, the man, was extremely, extremely talented. Just his demons got the better of him, and in the end, that's what took him. But yeah, for me as a wrestling fan, it was kind of sad and happy to see both this because you could see how happy those three guys were to be there, supporting their buddy. But it just makes you remember that Scott Hall's not here anymore, and you're only gonna be able to see him in throwback videos now. Following that, we had a hype video for Bayley and Sasha Banks, which was going to be one of the two main events on the evening, and like I've hinted repeatedly and over again, this is one of the best matches, not men's, not women's, one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen in my life. It's my top three list, and my top three of my, sorry, number 2 or 3 in my top 10 list. I'll be doing a top 10 list later, but for me, this is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. There might only be one match that tops it. And like I said, when I get to the list, I'll tell you guys. But we had that nice little preview teaser. What do you want to say for the match that's happening later tonight? Very good videos, very good packages back in the day from NXT. Then the production went down for a little bit when Vince took over, and now it's back again. Following that, we had a Nia Jax promo, and 10 years ago we didn't know we were in for what they were in for now, and I kind of wish that I'm gonna leave it there because you guys know my feelings towards Nia. And this one also kind of made me sad because 5 of the 6 people who are involved in this match are no longer with WWE, and I believe 2 of them or 3 of them are not even actually in wrestling anymore. And it makes me even sadder because one of the people that's involved in this match, um, not Murphy, Blake, his wife was in the crowd as one of the 4 contestants for the Tough Enough finals, which they bring up a little bit later on in the show. It's her and Mandy Rose and Zizi, and I can't remember the other dude's name, but sadly her name is Sarah Lee. And a few years after this pay-per-view, she ends up passing away, and I believe Blake is no longer wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. But it is the Vaudevillains, Aiden English, and Simon Gotch versus Blake and Matthews with Alexa Bliss at ringside, and Blue Pants, Leva Bates, who is an independent wrestling legend and should have probably gotten a bigger opportunity than she got with NXT, and actually given an actual name, not Blue Pants. But Leva Bates is a legend, and she's able to play many different characters, and she's actually one of the Lucha Sisters who was a tag team with me again, aka Michi, whatever the you want to call her. Um, Very good match. The heels do a very good job of doing the isolation and old school throwback tag team wrestling, just isolating and beating the hell out of God for most of the match. He's able to make his hot tags early on in that later on in the match, and I forgot how over the Vaudevillains were at this point and how hated Murphy Blake and Alexa Bliss were. And if you want to see the maturation of Alexa Bliss, this is where it all began. If you guys want to go take a look at this and how young Alexa was and how learning she was, and now you can tell she's starting to develop this character she'd later popularize and make everyone fall in love with. Go take a look at this. She was just a manager. She had a little like 2 second, 3 second scrap with Leva Bates. Toddy over here is kind of agreeing with me, but it kind of led you into the future of what Alexa was gonna be. Just her facial expressions when she saw like Leva Blue Pants come down, and when she coupled the 1-2 ooh teases, you could see in her facial reaction that she wanted her guys to win, but was unable to help. And then you could tell she was about ready to drill, I believe it was Aiden English, and she sold that well with her face until Leva Bates got involved, and very good match. Very good tag team match. Back then, NXT actually gave a damn about the tag team division. They are again now. These 4 guys are extremely talented. If you have about 10 minutes out of your day, I would say go check it out. It is a very good match. The Vaudevillains have this wicked throwback style. They're old, like, movie silent villain type guys, or as Square kept calling them, hippies of the new generation. But a very good match, told a very good story because the Vaudevillains have been chasing these tag team titles for a long time, and Blake and Murphy had been doing everything possible to cheat and keep them, and eventually caught up with them as they had one miscue in the entire match, and the Vaudevillains hit their Whirling Dervish finish. This match runs around 10 minutes, and as far as NXT tag team matches are going, I put this up against anything in the last decade. It's one of the best ones I've seen in a while, not including FTR. Just very good, 4 very talented men. Unfortunately, like I said, 5 of the 6 people are no longer in the WWE, and I believe 3 of them are not even actually in wrestling anymore. Alexa Bliss is the only one, 10 years on, who's just been flourished since last pay-per-view. Um, like I said, this match, I'm going to give it about 3.5, 4 as well. Told a very brilliant story. Allowed all 6 people involved to shine. Leva got her flowers as the crowd just went and erupted when they saw her. You can see this the makings of a star with Alexa Bliss. Murphy and Blake were a great tag team back in the day. Unfortunately, it didn't last too long. The Vaudevillains were extremely overpopular. This match did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was placed exactly where it could have been placed on the card, following a decent opener to lead into a few other good matches. But it was very good for its time. I'll say that. Let me go down here. All right, guys. After that, We had Neville and Cesaro, unfortunately, both not with the company anymore as well. So there's a lot of people that are on this pay per view that have nothing to do with WWE anymore at all. You can see them exiting an SUV with Balor because Balor, and like I keep saying in old reviews, this is prime Balor. WWE should bring this Balor back, and we'll talk about it when we get to the actual match. But we could see they were exiting that pay per view. Oh, SUV with their buddy Finn Balor. He was getting ready to fight a psychotic Kevin Owens for the NXT North. Or sorry, excuse me, guys. Didn't sleep well last night. The NXT title in the ladder match. This is Finn Balor's very first ever ladder match, and Kevin Owens is one of the kings of the ladder match. This very cool segment to see these two guys just be able to see them on a WWE pay per view since they're flourishing now in AEW. It's just crazy to think about all the talent AEW had back then and why it was untouched for so long. Following that, we had Ty Dillinger versus Apollo Crews, Aha Nation. Apollo Crews got beat most of this match. It only goes about 5 minutes. Ty Dillinger was so over with his perfect 10 gimmick. WWE completely ruined that. It was cool when he came out to the Rumble at number 10 a couple years after this pay per view, but they just ruined everything that was Ty Dillinger at this point. He's now Sean Spears. Um, he had an okay little run in AEW. Now he's back mentoring people in NXT again. But this was once again perfect placement for a perfect match and a good debut. The story told everything perfectly. You're allowed to see all of Apollo's athletic ability for being a man who was near 250 pounds and built like a brick shithouse. This was prime Apollo. Unfortunately, you're not going to see anything like this in the main roster because they just seem to have given up on Apollo. But very good match. Told a very good story of Apollo being the underdog that had to fight from below to be on top. Showed some of his charisma as he had that Apollo had this smile that just didn't want to go away for a while. And like you could see the excitement of him actually being able to be here. Like when he first comes out and he looks like, I'm here. You can read his lips. He's like, I'm here. And you can see the excitement in his eyes. And Sean Spears is trying to spoil this debut. The story was told perfectly. And I personally think this should have been Apollo Crews' finish to start with and never let go of, just to show the man's power and athletic ability. He hits a gorilla press slam behind his back while his opponent's just standing there, hits a standing 450, or sorry, shooting star press, clean as a whistle. And 1, 2, 3. For a man that was that big, he shouldn't have been that athletic. Shouldn't be, sorry. I think he's what people want Keith Lee to be, but Keith Lee's just thicker to be nice. But Apollo Crews, if he was actually given the light to shine and the ability to make his runway, he'd be an absolute superstar. Yeah, he can't talk. He's not the best talker, but the man can go in the ring. He has charisma for the age, you can tell. And he just has that overbearing, bubbly personality. Unfortunately, a few years after this, they've given him this shitty. I don't even know if you want to. I don't know what it was, but it was some sort of bizarre gimmick where he's like a Nigerian king or something. And he had a giant bodyguard who's no longer with the company anymore. But it just this was prime, like I keep saying for like I said, Finn Balor for me. This was prime Apollo Crews. The ability that he had to shine, the fact that he was able to actually deliver on the stage, and there was no jitters, and everything just went so clean. Like I said, for a 5 minute match, this thing did everything it was supposed to do, and it made both guys look good. And Sean Spears, like Cody Rhodes says, he's a good hand. Sean Spears is very good at what he does. He just doesn't get the flowers he deserves. For what it did and where it was on the card and everything in the debut, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. Like this thing was perfect. It did everything it was supposed to do, then some. Um, Following that, we had William Regal cutting a promo, and this one's kind of sad because it was 10 years ago. This on this pay-per-view that we had found out a few months prior that Dusty Rhodes had passed, and Dusty Rhodes meant a lot to a lot of wrestling fans, myself included, even though I didn't get to see a lot of his run because it was before I was born. But Dusty Rhodes was the ultimate babyface. Like they want Cody and they want see, even she agrees with me, right, Toots? Dusty Rhodes was the ultimate babyface. All you seen was old school videos of Dusty. I mean, WWE tried to humiliate this dude by dressing him up in polka dots and black and making him look super fat, but Dusty Rhodes was just the man. And you could tell he meant everything to everybody in NXT. William Regal, you could tell was having difficulty doing this video. You could see it a few times in his eyes and in his voice. He was getting emotional talking about this. Um, but it was the birth of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, or sorry, the Dusty Classic tag team match that they've done a few times that have for some reason gone away from. And I believe it was Balor and Samoa Joe that won the very first ever Dusty Cup, if I'm not mistaken, and led to probably one of the best NXT title matches you'll ever see in your life between Balor and Joe a few months later. But this thing was pivotal to making NXT more popular and given the okay from the family and the fact that Dusty meant so much. You could see even after the announcers were talking about it, it was an emotional day. You could tell it was emotion for everyone that was there because Dusty just loved wrestling and wrestlers just loved Dusty. And wrestling fans just love Dusty, as you can see. It's been almost 10, 11 years now, and even thinking about it's kind of sad for me because I was a big Dusty fan. Go just look at some of his promos. Like, a computer took your job, daddy. I've wined and dined with kings and queens, and I've dined on porks and beans. I've dined in alleyways on porks and beans. That's hard times, baby. That's hard times. You're not gonna rate that because it just the Regal The Regal segment's brilliant. Everything Regal does, he does with such gusto and gesture and believability. It was Regal is the man, as far as I'm concerned. I love William Regal. I'm biased towards it. That man's not in the Hall of Fame. He should be soon. Then we also had the debut of Connor's Cure in the Warrior Award on this show. First time it was announced, and I've gone away from both since because I believe Dana Warrior is now working with AEW, if I'm not mistaken. And also, Warrior's just not a good dude if you go back and look at him. Chronic Cure, I don't know why we went away from this and why WWE stopped doing things with the cancer and cancer treatment. Cancer's got a special cancer research has got a special place in my heart. I've lost a lot of people to this god awful disease, my father included. I know a lot of family members. So I'm just gonna say fuck cancer and keep up the research. Hopefully you guys can find something. And like I alluded to earlier, this is kind of weird to watch. None of these people are with the company anymore, and this competition doesn't exist anymore. But 10 years ago on this pay per view, we had our first, I believe, last Tough Enough. Because there was the one with Daniel Puder, and you guys remember what happened to Daniel Puder, don't you? Get the ever living piss beat out of him by everybody in the WWE because he didn't earn his spot, according to them. Well, this one was Mandy Sachs, aka Mandy Rose, who now is making more money doing OnlyFans than she ever did doing WWE. And unfortunately, like I said, the posthumous Sarah Lee, who is was the husband of Murphy, Blake, and a few years past this video has passed away, unfortunately leaving behind 4 children. And then ZZ and Josh. WD had high hopes for ZZ. He just never panned out to be anything, and Josh was nothing really. And then we probably had one of the best big man sleeping man meat matches I've seen in a long time. Samoa Joe, who, if you know anything about Samoa Joe and me, I have an affinity of love for Samoa Joe. The dude is an absolute living legend. And for a man as big as he is, sorry, Tots, he shouldn't be able to do the things he does and be as athletic as he is and just be as crisp as he is in the ring. And he's fighting Baron Corbin. Unfortunately, both these guys, so unfortunately, not with the company anymore. So I think we have a theme here at this pay per view. Outside of a few people, this pay per view is kind of a curse, as you can see. It's kind of awkward for me. One of the best WWE pay per views I've ever seen. Very good show from top to bottom. I'll rate the entire show afterwards. But and he's facing arguably the guy who gets a lot of hatred for no reason whatsoever. And yes, he shouldn't have been Kurt Angle's last match ever. And I guess you guys know what I'm talking about now. Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is one of the cleanest, safest, best workers I've seen. As a wrestling fan, I've been watching this King of Sport of Kings for God, almost 40 years. Baron Corbin got hate for no reason. Everything WWE asked him to do, he did it, then some. Constable Corbin, Broke-Ass Corbin, Happy Corbin, Lone Wolf Corbin, Constable Corbin, King Corbin. I was in Vancouver Port when King Corbin was on its rise, and I saw people dressed up like a king just to be like Corbin. Corbin was, for a guy who'd only been doing it at this point 3 years in the ring, and well, 13 now if you count the 10 plus on, is a natural at this. The dude is an athletic freak. It's because he has that athletic background. He's a former football player and boxer. Golden Glove boxer, sorry. Amateur style. Still counts. Um, and Samoa Joe, that's all I'm going to say. This match is brilliant. There's points where these guys are just beating ever living hell out of each other. It's brilliant. And this is because they're both trying to prove dominancy over each other. Baron Corbin doesn't think there's anybody that's on his level can break him down. And Samoa Joe's just here to humble him. Very good match. Very close. 1-2 ooze. And this is where you see the debut of the Deep Six, but a completely different version. And you can tell Corbin was still working on it, but Corbin is just so safe and so good in the ring. And Samoa Joe is arguably one of the best to have ever done this, in my opinion. Dude doesn't get the flowers he deserves. He's still cooking in AEW. God, well over 40 at this point. People talk about Rey Mysterio being amazing at over 40 and almost 50. Samoa Joe's up there too, and he's just still so good. I personally, in my opinion, this might be a little hypocritical. I think he's better than CM Punk at this point in the stage of the game. The dude is untouchable on the microphone. Everything he says, you believe. This promo video before the entire thing, both these guys just spit fire. The match itself is fire. I'm not going to even bother trying to talk about it. There's a lot of cool spots, a lot of cool 1-2 ooh spots. There's even a point where Baron Corbin hits a power bomb and somehow gets transitioned. This is the finish. Hits a power bomb, hits a one, and tries to pin him by stacking Joe's shoulders, and it gets transitioned into the Coquina clutch somehow. I don't know how they did this. And Corbin just goes out. He fights it for as long as he possibly can, and then he goes out. Absolutely brilliant. Great storytelling. This whole match is amazing. Gets both guys exactly where they're supposed to go. Samoa Joe looks like an absolute monster. Baron Corbin looks like a savage who went out on his shield. Puts both guys where they're supposed to be. And like I said, a few months later, Samoa Joe become NXT champion. And I believe Baron Corbin will be drafted up to Raw later that year. Um, I gave that match, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me just go over my notes here again. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Sorry, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I gave it a 4 out of 5, but it's a 5. It does everything perfectly in this match. It's absolutely brilliant. I know there's probably different people that did different ratings on this. It goes about 12 minutes, and in that 12 minutes, it does everything it's supposed to do and some. But just absolutely probably on top of, in terms of big man slapping man meat, I put it in top 10 less against anything. It's arguably one of the best I've seen. Both these two guys are insanely good. I forgot how good this match was. It's been damn near 10 years since I've seen this match. And I just fell in love with how good it was. Like the story these guys told, everything about it. And that's why last night I gave it a 4 and I slept when I rethought about it. It's getting a 5. Oh. After that, we had another pan to the crowd. And I don't know why I'll talk about it when we get to it, but I don't know why they changed her name. But we had Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, and Kana, now known as Asuka. But they even called her Kana on WWE television, and 2 months later, she was Asuka. Don't ask me, maybe they didn't have the rights to name Kana. But they were at ringside as well as Team. Remember this goddamn awful era? We had Team PCB, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Paige. Team Bad, Naomi, and Tamina and Sasha, and then the Bellas, Alicia Fox, Sasha Armina, and the Bella Twins. God, I hated that. I'm not gonna lie. That was People want to say that was the Divas Revolution. The Divas Revolution was started by, look at the symbol, 4 people. Other people helped it happen? Hell, fuck, as far as I'm concerned, this thing doesn't happen without Tennille Dashwood, who I believe is no longer in wrestling as well. Too many back injuries, and Paige, who Saraya now. I don't know if she's actually with AEW or if she's a free agent, and if she is, part of me kind of wants her to come back to WWE for one last run, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It'd be nostalgic. It'd be amazing. Maybe bring her mom with her because her mom deserves the flowers. Um, but yes, they were all ringside getting ready for this, and then Stephanie McMahon comes out, cuts a nice little promo, talks about the Divas Revolution. We have a nice little video towards it, and then we have an amazing video package for Sasha Banks and Bayley. How Bayley for like 5 years was the ultimate babyface, like this underdog who just didn't get anything, and just everyone absolutely annihilated her. She was the bottom of the list. Nobody wanted her. She wasn't good enough. That was her story. And when the rest of her friends got sent up to SmackDown and Raw, she was left behind because she wasn't good enough or ready enough to be up there, even though I personally think she's the most talented of the 4. And is finally getting the flowers she deserves. Um, and Sasha Banks, like, for a good 5 years, there's nothing like heel Sasha. The boss character, unfortunately, a lot of hate towards Sasha now. And I'm not gonna lie, amazing talent in the ring, can't cut a promo worth it to save her life. The promos you could tell were scripted in WWE, and she followed them perfectly and remembered her lines. But the fact that she has creative control and tries to control everything in AEW, the woman can't talk. That's I think they should stop having her cut promos. I think they've learned that she can't talk to save her life if she has to think on her own. But in ring talent, top five out of 10 I've ever seen in my life. Mercedes KV, one of my favorites in the Indies before she came to WWE. 5 minutes, baby. Um, you can see Toddy behind me is very excited too. I'm not even trying to do this match justice. This is number 2 in my top 10 matches of all time for me personally. It tells an absolutely brilliant story. Just Sasha, Sasha being the bitch who kind of always tried to hold down Bayley and thought she ruled the division. Bayley was even closer on her level. Bayley being this ultimate underdog who only wanted one thing. That was success because she was robbed of it so many different times. The 2 women in the match just absolutely told the perfect story. They'd have an Iron match later that year, and it was awesome. But to me, this thing is 10 years later. You can hold a candle to it. There's maybe one match I think in my entire life I've seen that was better than that. That's Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. That's a wrestling fan of, like I said, almost 40 years. This is number 2 on my list of all time. It is absolutely one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen in my life. And if you have 20 minutes out of your day, go on Netflix. Fast forward to this match. I wouldn't say fast forward to the pay per view because it's all amazing, but if you have 20 minutes in your day, just sit down and watch this. And this is wrestling. Men, women, midgets, children, babies. This thing is everything wrestling is. It is absolutely brilliant. Well done. This thing is people use the analogies that you go top corner and the goalie and you score top cheddar, or you score the winning touchdown in a Super Bowl. You knock a home run out of the park in a championship game. This is it. This is that analogy. This thing is absolutely brilliant. Both these girls play their parts perfectly. And like I said, this was prime heel Sasha, and it was amazing. That run when she was heel Sasha, holy fuck. That thing can't be touched in NXT. There's so many girls that tried to emulate it, but as far as I'm concerned, heel Sasha in NXT is arguably one of the best heels in NXT, man or woman. Just the cockiness she persuaded with, the overall part of the language cuntiness that she had, and the ability to just pull it off and make it believable. Amazing. And Bayley just being that ultimate underdog baby face. That's all I'm gonna say. Brilliant storytelling, brilliant match, perfect time, perfect place, and the crowd just erupts when Bayley wins. It's like I said, this match goes around 20 minutes, and everything's gotten 5 out of 5 so far. This thing's getting a 10 out of 5 because it's on Mount Rushmore for me for matches, guys. As you can tell by my voice and my eyes. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Like I said, if you're a wrestling fan, or even if you're not, and you're just watching this podcast with some guy talk about wrestling, go check out this match if you have a Netflix account. It is, it is what it is. And to this day, I could put this against a lot of matches. I'm thinking about AEW, New Japan, ROH, WWE itself, anything, and this thing will stand the test of time. You know, artists paint their pictures and they go in museums. This match alone, how UFC puts matches in the Hall of Fame, there's two matches I can think of off the top of my head that should be in the Hall of Fame for matches and matches alone. Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, Sasha Banks, Bayley. NXT 2015 TakeOver Brooklyn. And this was the first of two main events on the evening. Um, Following that, we had Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens and Finn Balor in a ladder match. Absolutely brilliant. Balor comes out as the Demon. The Demon Balor was untouchable. He hasn't done it in a long time because he says he only does it for big occasions. I think when he has to face Dominic Mysterio and gets kicked out of the Judgment Day at WrestleMania, I think he should bring up Demon Balor solely because the betrayal and he wants to get the ultimate payback. And Demon Balor's the persona that lets him do things he wouldn't do as actual Finn Balor. And I think Finn Balor, I love his heel run. I think he's so much better as a babyface. And my opinion, Finn Balor's top three NXT champions of all time. And Kevin, to me, you know, guys, what I think of Kevin Owens. I've said it repeatedly on these videos. If you watch them, Kevin Owens is uber talented. Everything the guy does is gold. And the way things he does in line of matches are untouchable. There's one really, really cool spot where Finn Balor actually hits a drop kick off the ladder through Kevin Owens and traps his own leg under the ladder. I don't know how they planned this off. If it was a mistake or if it was possible. Finn somehow drop kicks him and hooks the ladder and drops himself. Great storytelling, great selling, awesome match in itself. We even get a pop-up powerbomb off the ladder, which I thought was a really cool spot in that match. As Finn Balor's halfway up the ladder, Kevin Owens trips him, catches him, pop-up powerbomb. We get Kevin Owens old school powerbomb in the ring apron. Just all the hits are played in this match. It's absolutely brilliant, and the finish is really cool. As Finn Balor actually goes to the very top of the ladder, could get the title. Sees Kevin Owens starting to move, and hits a coup de grace from the top of the ladder through Kevin Owens. And then he climbs the ladder, gets the belt. That's the pay-per-view ends. This match is about 23 minutes. It's the longest match on the card. And at that point, rightfully so, it was for the heavyweight title of the company, of the division, sorry. It is absolutely brilliant. And it was a perfect match to follow Sasha Bayley. All four of those individuals put themselves on a map that night if nobody recognized them before knew who they were. And unfortunately, one of those four is not with WWE anymore, controversially and awkwardly wise. But I'm gonna leave it at that note. And I'm as a pay per view in general, I'm going to give this thing a 10 out of 10. I think it's you can put this pay per view against most WWE pay per views. It blows for mid 2000s. It blows most of them out of the water. It is brilliant. It tells every story possible, and it has Sasha Banks and Bayley on it. On that note, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday evening or Monday evening or Tuesday afternoon to do a review on Raw. All right.